when you and when I recognize and identify and celebrate the good that is in our lives, we too will be amazed with the abundance that fills and surrounds us. Good morning. Ernest Benjamin here, co-founder of Gifted Failures United. Just welcoming you back to another installment of Gifted Mondays, where we help you kickstart your week with a few nuggets of inspiration. And in the month of November, we are centering on the theme of gratitude, really working to impress upon our minds the importance of practicing gratitude. And as we've pointed out before, and as many of you have suggested to me, it's always easier to recognize and to celebrate the good that's all around us when things are going well in our lives. But when things are not going so well, as I like to say, when life hurts, practicing gratitude can be rather challenging. Often it is the case that we experience circumstances in our lives that kind of leave us scratching our heads, searching for answers. We are left to confront our fears and our tears, our failures and our frustrations. We are wrestling with our thoughts. We're struggling with our emotions. And so the question is, how do I find my way to gratitude in the midst of such anxieties and worries? How do I find my way to gratitude when I'm focusing and dealing with the troubles and the cares that life can bring to bear? And I would suggest to you that if we truly want to live life to its fullest, if we want to have joy, even in the midst of the pain, what we have to simply learn to do is to worry less and be grateful more. Don't worry, be grateful. You know, in Philippians chapter 4 and verse number 4, the Apostle Paul invites all believers to rejoice in the Lord always. At a time when the saints were experiencing great persecution at the hands of the Roman government, even at a time when the Apostle Paul himself was in prison, his exhortation to those with whom he was corresponding with was to rejoice in the Lord always, to always be abounding in joy in Christ. You know, we take that verse and put it in a 2020 context, and what the Apostle Paul would suggest to you and I is that even in the midst of difficulties, even when someone that we love is dying, even when we lose our jobs, even as they sometimes say when our money is looking funny, we are exhorted to always be abounding, to always be overflowing with joy. Well, how do we do that? In Philippians 4 and verse number 6, the Apostle Paul continues and he says, don't worry about anything. Instead, he calls us to express our worries to God with thanksgiving. Quite simply, he says, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. He says, tell God what you need. Cast your cares upon the Lord. And he says, while you're doing that, be sure to thank him for what he's already done. And you see, when we think about these verses, we come to understand that we can rejoice always, even in the midst of difficulties and challenges, when we understand that true joy can always be found at the seat of thanksgiving. And so what I want you to do as you go about this week, what I want you to do, quite frankly, right now, is to think about a situation in your life that is causing you pain, that is causing you grief. And I want you to really use that pain and that grief as a catalyst to jumpstart your prayer life. Talk to the Lord about your pain. Talk to the Lord about your complaints and your frustrations. Give every lament that you have in your heart to the Lord. You see, that's important because for some of us, before we'll ever find our way to gratitude, it's going to be necessary that we vent our frustrations, we vent our hurt and our concerns to God. And that's okay because God cares. But when you finish that venting, I want you to take your time and ask this simple question. What's good in this situation? What's present in this situation, in my circumstance, that I can thank God for? What good is God doing here right now? How can God be glorified even in the midst of this difficulty? Because here's what I know. None of life's circumstances are 100% negative. Every negative circumstance also contains its opposite. There's something good in every seemingly bad situation. And so you see, friends, life is not about the negative circumstances that happen to you, but instead it's about what you do with the golden opportunities hidden within every negative circumstance or situation. And so my advice to you, don't worry, be grateful. And so when life attempts to get you down, when your shoulders begin to sink from the pressure that life can bring to bear, remember the words of the Apostle Paul as he tells us to pray without ceasing. Never stop praying. And in everything, give thanks. For this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. And as always, friends, remember that failure is a necessary part of our journey to success. So until the next time, embrace the gift of failure. God bless you.